All right, we're live.
Yay! Happy Friday, everybody. So today's topic is about childhood memories. And it's funny when we pick the topic.
Wait. We're not Inside Scoop with Sue. I hate
No,
that.
we're not, unless you're
We're
going to
so
share
not.
something very private about your childhood memories.
Nope, I'm not. Okay, here we go. Today we are Fridays with Sue and Steph.
Now we are. So
All's good.
When we pick the topic of childhood memories, we really didn't say good or bad childhood memories. We just said childhood memories. And so I was thinking about a couple last night, and one I have is, it's funny, it would be interesting to hear my parents tell the story. So we grew up in Philly in New York, and when we were in Philly, some of my mom's sisters lived in New York, and I think one was in another state at that time. And my grandparents were in Philly, and we would all go together to the Catskills, like what people associate with like the Dirty Dancing, those whatever. We used to go to a place called the Raleigh, Raleigh, which no longer exists, of course. Or as my dad calls it, I think the other name for the Catskills is the Borscht Belt. So we used to go and meet our cousins and spend a week there every summer. And my memories of it were like, I loved it. Like I remember one time when we were there one summer, the cast of Annie was there, and Sarah Jessica Parker was Annie at that time. And the cast was like swimming in the indoor pool. And I remember like, just because we had gone there for so many years, I remember like the director was like, hey, if like the Kaplan kids and the Schaefer kids want to go swimming, they can. And so like getting to swim with the cast and all this. So I have all these crazy memories. But my mom telling the story would tell the story about the kids. We would go to camp. And so it was a great vacation because they could be like do their own thing, but the kids were in camp, and then we'd be together for the evenings, and then they'd have like sitters. Like if you put your kids to bed, the sitters would walk by the rooms and check on the kids. And it was just kind of a good vacation for all. But apparently I was very attached to my mom, and my mom would have to sneak around the hotel so that I didn't see her, because otherwise I wouldn't want to be at camp. So it's such a funny thing, because I think it was all these happy memories. I think it was my mom like hiding behind plants and like trying to dodge me. But it was a very happy time for like the Berkowitzes, Schaefers, etc. to be together. So that's one I think about a lot.
So my first one when I was thinking about it was camp. And I want to say that when I think about memories, I have to really pull them out, because I don't live where I grew up. And I don't live with people I grew up with. And so in Cleveland, when people are where they grew up, they're surrounded by their memories all the time. Yeah. And when I go visit in Connecticut, my friends will say like stories that come flooding back at me, but they're not there readily. They're not like popping out at me. Yeah. So I had to think for a minute. And I was thinking the importance of memories is that I do find more kind of compassion and empathy for my kids when I remember the moments, and actually I would say even more, like that my expectations of my kids' lives are so different than how I live my life, which is like kind of noteworthy, right? Like, why would I expect them not to be embarrassed by something that as an adult I think is so ridiculous, but as a kid, oh my God, I first of all, I've always blushed when I'm embarrassed. So talk about raising your hand and saying, I am embarrassed. So I had a teacher in 9th grade who, for Shakespeare, and he was a little scary. And I really liked him. I really wanted him to think I was smart, and like he was scary and also like, you want his approval, kind of scary, kind of the scary that probably wouldn't work today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so he called me up in front of the room, and I had to read this passage from The Merchant of Venice. Clearly, I don't remember the passage, but I remember that I was being instructed to be subtle. And I remember thinking, I don't think I'm subtle. And my face turned beet red. And I just wanted to like crawl somewhere away and have no one notice that just happened. And it's such a vivid memory for me. And I do have kids who blush, and I have kids who get really embarrassed by things that I just go like, that embarrasses you. But I was so, enough that it's first on my list of memories. And I have other really good memories, but I thought you started with a good, I'll start with a bad. So that is one that Like it stands out as a moment where I really felt embarrassed and embarrassed because someone else put me in a position where I was embarrassed.
Oh my God, that's bringing back some memories of being embarrassed in school now that I
That's
had
a whole other, it's like really a whole other thing to think about. Like those moments. Yeah.
Totally. I'm like, they're going through my head right now. I'm having one from 4th grade. I'm having one from 8th grade. The other one I was thinking about, and it's funny, my brother and sister and I, all three of us love the outdoors. Like we will do anything to be outside. And so like, do you want to eat inside or outside? Outside. Anything, right, to be out. And I said to my brother recently, we were hiking Colorado with him for the week. And I said, it's funny, Mom and Dad don't have like this love of the outdoors. I mean, they like sitting outside, but not like the three of us. And then I remembered that my grandpa, who my mom's dad, they live 3 blocks from us in Philly. And my mom tells stories that she would open the door to get the paper and my grandfather would fall into the house because he was just waiting till an acceptable time to come over, which is so sweet, right? So
unless you're the daughter.
Unless you're the daughter, right? Then she'd be like, oh, hey, Dad. You would literally fall into the house. But he was coming because he would take us out on Saturday mornings. And where we went was to the woods. It's funny. I haven't even talked to my brother and sister about this recently. So the woods, and I can picture it. It would be like, I'm trying to think of something near our house, Sue. It might be like the Beechwood Path, right? Where it's really not the woods, but it's like when you're littler and things look bigger, right? I can almost picture like climbing up towards these trees. I'll bet it was 3 feet, and I wonder if like those excursions, he loved taking us out and being out. Like, I'm sure it can't be a coincidence, I don't think, that we all have that love. And I wonder if my brother and sister have those early memories. I'd have to ask.
Also, if you're listening and you want to put a memory in the comment, we'd love to share it. So my memory of my childhood is so non-existent today. It's everyone's story of going out from morning till it got dark and and literally there was a bell that got rung to come home. But what we did in the winter on a snow day, which was like the gift of everything, was a snow day. The house next door to us had a hill, and we would go to the top of the hill and we would make it across the street and into another backyard until it kind of flattened out. And we did it over and over and over again. And that was a day where we were being careful. So we would have someone at the bottom of the hill watching for cars, and we would go down and we would go across the street and down another house. But when we weren't being careful, because the snow was so high that it didn't seem like traffic could come through, we would go to the top of our street, in the street, and go sledding down the street.
That's fantastic.
The joy of it never ended. I mean, we could do it freezing. Maybe we'd run in and get hot chocolate in a house and come back out and do it some more. But it was repetitive. It never got boring. It was joyful. And it would never, ever happen today. Ever.
No, it could happen today. Your parents would end up in jail. Like, I mean, the whole thing is so ridiculous. It's funny when you were just telling that story and I'm thinking, wait a minute. We used to totally play in the street. So we used to play, I know my siblings will remember this, in Philly, we'd play wire ball. So like the wires over the street were like, so you'd hit for like the wires. So we'd like have bases set up. The bases were obviously like in the street because you're hitting the wire that's like at the edge there. So it was like baseball, right? But you'd have to hit for the wires.
And we're trying to get a live electrical wire to come down.
Sounds totally safe. It sounds, as my brother would say, what could possibly go wrong?
All right. So my other one, and this is so deep within me that when I smell this, I'm back there. I'm transported. Okay. But my happy place was sleepaway summer camp. And it was, I mean, to this day, my closest friends, like really a deep, meaningful experience that I waited all year to get back to. And the smell of camp, going anywhere where the outdoors has that smell, I am so happy and transported immediately. And outside of Cleveland, in like kind of where, almost where Cleveland, New York, and Pennsylvania meet is Chautauqua Institution. And I love that place so much. And part of the experience for me is driving in and smelling the camp smell. Like it's on a lake. It has all the smells.
Oh, it's funny.
And all of my whole body has this visceral reaction to this smell of camp because it was so formative for my childhood. It was so significant, and it's such happy, happy memories.
That is such a great explanation. It's funny because this morning something came up on my feed about Chautauqua, and I was thinking about you, and so it's so funny you're bringing this up, and how much you love Chautauqua. And I'm like, I wonder what it is. Is it the lectures? Is it so that is such a great, I mean, one, it's so interesting that you can.
Well, it's only a piece I love of Chautauqua.
Yeah.
But it's the start of that experience, because I get out of my car, I smell it. Even as I'm driving, it actually happens to be like about 20 minutes away from where my kids went to overnight camp. So it has the whole vibe anyway. But yeah, overnight camp, like I think for a lot of kids who had that summer experience and were able to have that summer experience, it was so formative.
So this is such a strange one. So that's making me think, I'm talking about my grandparents and smells. And I may have told this story before. So sometime in the last, 20 years, as an adult at some point, someone gave me an Estee Lauder lipstick. Maybe they didn't want it. The color wasn't right or whatever. And I smelled it and I'm like, that is so weird. This smells like peanuts. Like, it smells like nuts to me. So I give it like to Todd to smell, and he's like, and I don't have a good sense of smell, I should say, but he's like, that does not smell like peanuts. And then like I gave it to like somebody else. They're like, that does not smell like peanuts. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God. My grandmother used to wear Estee Lauder lipstick and used to keep like chocolate covered peanuts hidden in like a thing we would access. I think my brain put those smells together.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so I want to just share that Christina, let's put her over here. Hi, Christina. Thank you for sharing. I remember the smell of cheese bread in the cafeteria in elementary school, walking in and smelling that smell. I couldn't wait for that cheesy goodness. Oh God, we had like these meat pizza bagels. I don't know what they called them. I thought they were it's disgusting, but I thought it was the most delicious thing. I couldn't wait for that day for school. So Christina, I totally relate to that. Okay, this is a weird one, this memory.
Go ahead.
I think about it a lot because of how we talk about how kids dress today, kids today. And what I believe is that every generation says that, it's like La Belle Epoque, like we lived in a time when no one would do that. But so there's so much about how kids dress today. And I remember my favorite outfit. Now, I don't know how old I was, but I think it was around puberty. So I wasn't that young where it was completely benign, but I had this stretch tube top and blue platform shoes that I wore, and I had shorts with that. So I don't know.
I'm told to see that.
It's not. It was an outfit that I treasured, and nobody had any issue with like what a message I was sending to the world. Somehow.
Wow, that's so interesting.
It just was like something that I wore and delighted in wearing. I can picture the platform shoes. I can picture the tube top, and I just felt like I was everything in that outfit. So I don't know like where the people around me were thinking like, she should not be wearing that. I don't know what people were thinking, but I do know that I wore it with such pride, like probably a little more confident than I might have been the day before or the day after.
You know what's so funny? My head goes to another place on it too, is, we do try so hard, I think, especially with our daughters and ourselves as women, like, it's all about what's inside and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is like, when I actually like take a shower and put some makeup on and put like a new outfit on or something, I'm like, I feel good in this. Like, I know this looks good. I know I look put together. And I'm like, maybe that's not such a bad thing, And it's like, it can give you that confidence, know?
I have a friend with a ton of eyeglasses, like really funky eyeglasses. And I said to her, like, why? And she said, it's part of my persona. Like, it's how I put myself together. It's fun. It's fun for her.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm going to say this. I hope you're good with this. First of all, next week we're off, but the following week, like, would you talk about things that embarrassed us as when we were kids? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do it. We're going to lay it out there. The times, I have some doozies, especially, I think like they probably stand out more for me than anybody. I know they do more for me than anyone else in the world. Nobody remembers what happened to me when I was a kid, but I will tell you that blushing when you're embarrassed is a really, there's nothing you can do about it. Like I would will it. I would literally be like, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Because I thought I could fool everybody that I was like putting on a face that wasn't super ashamed or embarrassed. But because like my body reacts to the feeling of being embarrassed with a beet red face, it's like, there's nothing you can do. You have just raised your hand for the world to see. Like, and when I see someone else have that experience, I always just have so much compassion. Like, I'm sorry you can't hide right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so and maybe Christina will come back on 2 weeks from today and share with us because we really appreciate that. So everybody have a great week. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.